It is winter time. You know what that means. It's time to bring out the rice congee porridge, or as I like to call it, shifan, which is basically the Chinese term for it. And this is basically the dish that your parents cook for you when you're cold or sick, or when you just want to kind of warm up the soul, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to teach you the basic way of how to make this, and then also how to take that basic way and amplify it into any way you want. So, let's get started.
せーのでもそんなんじゃダメもうそんなんじゃほら心は進化するよもっともっと
Alright, first things first, we gotta prepare the perfect rice. Okay, so here we got some medium grain rice. We're using just about 1 cup of this, and of course we're gonna give it a nice little shower. Swish it around, rinse it well, and drain it out. Repeat this about 2 or 3 times so we get some squeaky clean rice. Just like this, and we're gonna transfer this into a pretty big pot because we're still gonna need a lot of water, so keep that in mind. Now we're going to use a total of 10 cups water, so it's a 10-1 ratio, but we're only putting 3 cups in right now with a little bit of oil. Don't those oil bubbles look so cool? Okay, anyways, give this a quick mix, and then we're just going to leave this aside and let it soak for about 30 minutes to an hour. And while it's doing that, we're going to prepare the rest of the ingredients. We got a bunch of stuff here. Some are ingredients, some are toppings. Let's get prepping. So first things first is the ginger, and make sure you have it in a nice rectangle shape like this, and also that it has a flat side on the bottom so it can stand upright, just like you see here. Then we're going to cut very thin sheets. The thinner the better, but if you can't manage it, just do the best you can. That's all I ever ask for. Should look a little something like this, depending on how thin you cut it, but just get as close as you can. Lay those sheets out flat out on each other, and we're going to do some very thin slicing. The thin strips really help the rice absorb all that ginger aroma without being too overbearing. We're going to dice some scallions real quickly by first slicing the bottom half and then dicing away. Nice and steady. Doesn't have to be too fine or coarse, whatever pleases you. Here we got a good slice of pork loin. This is definitely the hardest thing to cut, as meat usually is, so make sure you dry it off very well, and take your knife and cut downwards at an angle exactly like you see here, using your fingers to very, very carefully guide the knife without, of course, slicing any of your flesh off. And if you need at the end, just peel the pork back and then finish the cut. Repeat this process to cut some pretty thin sheets of pork. Always be sure your knife is pointing downwards and away from your fingers. Then using those sheets, we're going to cut strips. Same exact thing with the ginger, just be a lot more careful this time because meat is quite slippy. You can also let your meat get slightly frozen before cutting it. This makes it much easier, so that's a pro tip. And make sure your knife is sharpened very well. Next we got some century eggs, preserved eggs, whatever you want to call it. This stuff is delicious, even if it may look a little sketchy to you at first. Quite a delicacy in my eyes, and it just fits the rice congee flavor so well. And you can see the inside really does look like some sort of mythical creature's egg. But it's beautiful, honestly. What do you think? With an egg this delicate, you want to make sure you're cutting down very quickly. This makes it much easier, so we're just going to cut each half into 6 pieces. Cut it nice and even, and we're going to be using 2 full eggs here. And bam! Here we have all of the ingredients that we needed to prep, perfectly cut and ready to use. Next we got some youtiao, also known as fried dough stick. This stuff is absolutely delicious and crispy. So we're just going to cut that real quickly and bake it on a medium heat until it's nice and crispy. Just leave it in the oven until we need it. And now back to our rice, which has been fully soaked. And at this point it's time to add the rest of the water. 7 cups now to make a total of 10 cups. Remember, 10-1 ratio. You can also get away with 9.5 or something like that. And now to the stove, we're starting on a high heat. Stir on an occasional basis throughout this whole cooking process and leave it on a high heat until it starts to boil. Just like this, and now we're going to reduce the heat to a medium-low and then of course continue the stirring process. And this will take about 12 to 15 minutes in total. You can see the rice is starting to absorb the water, but it's not done yet, so just keep on stirring until you get a pretty thick and starchy consistency, and you can see now the rice is fully coated with water. That's done, and this is actually how you make plain rice congee, so we're actually going to set aside a bowl of just this basic version and come back to it later to spice it up. Now in the pot, we're going to finish off our traditional style, which is with the ginger and the pork goes straight inside, and you can turn the heat to around medium now and just evenly distribute. Now with spices, we're going to keep it simple, just with some salt, white pepper, and chicken powder. No need to go overboard on these spices, keep it light, there's already going to be enough flavor. Everything's done cooking, so at this point, anything you add inside can be used as just a topping instead, but if you know you're going to eat it right away, it's completely fine to just put it straight in right now. I like to put it both inside and as a topping, but just be warned, the fried dough stick does get a little soggy. So that's about it for the cooking part. You can now serve that in your favorite bowl with however many people you want. And like I said earlier, now I'm putting on some toppings to make it look prettier and to have some crispy fried dough on top. And that right there is the way to make a very traditional, authentic Chinese style of rice congee, some truly delicious and heartwarming stuff. Back to the simple version, no ginger, no ingredients, just plain white rice, but we're going to do some edits to it. So one thing that I love to put on top of this is a hard fried egg, over easy, but making sure that the inside is still nice and gooey. High heat, 3 minutes face up, then 1 minute face down. And that's how you get the perfect fried egg, just look at that. Put that beautiful little chicken baby straight on top. I also love to eat this with some Chinese pickled cucumbers. It goes so well, it's crunchy. And of course some shredded pork, also known as pork floss. Some soy sauce on top to complete the perfect version of simple rice congee. My favorite. So here we have our 2 different types of rice congee, porridge, shifan, whatever you want to call it. And we're going to start with this one. Let's do it. I absolutely love this stuff. It's like wakes up the soul and just kind of clears out everything inside of you that's not too good. And you can definitely skip out on these if you want to just go the full healthy route. Not a problem. Just eat a steaming hot bowl of this rice congee when you're feeling sick, when you're feeling cold, and you'll be good. You'll be good. This is a really simple version. It's just plain white rice congee, and you can put anything on top of it. These are just my 3 top ingredients. They're so simple. They take 5 seconds to whip together. The only thing you're really cooking is the egg. The rest of it is all pre-made. So here's what you get. Nostalgia just sparking up in my head right now. So comforting, so easy, so delicious. Love that little runny egg yolk too. Other ingredients I like putting on this thing: Chinese sausage, fermented tofu, salted egg, and really whatever else you can whip up. Easy peasy comfort food, and a little more complex traditional Chinese style of rice porridge, or congee. Be sure to subscribe, leave a comment with any questions, concerns, or recipes that you want to see in the future, of course. Or you can just say hi. Thanks for watching.